My name is Tom Morrison. I'm 76 years old, and I want to tell you about things I understood too late. But first, I need to go back because otherwise you won't understand. 1972, I'm 21, Margaret is 19. We met in the university library, both reached for the same book. We laughed. I invited her for coffee. A year later, we got married. We had nothing. Rented a one-room apartment on the outskirts. I worked two jobs, during the day at a construction site, in the evening as a security guard. Margaret taught at an elementary school for pennies. I'd come home at 2 in the morning, she was already asleep, textbooks scattered around because she was preparing for lessons. Saturday morning, the only time when we really saw each other. We'd cook breakfast together, talk, plan the future. Someday we'll have our own house. Someday I won't have to work nights. Someday. Michael was born 1978. I remember holding him for the first time, so small, defenseless. Margaret tired after childbirth but smiling. She said, "We'll manage, right?" We managed, somehow. Margaret came back from maternity leave after 3 months because we had to pay bills. My mom watched the baby. I took a third job on weekends, slept maybe 4 hours a day, but we managed. Lisa was born 4 years later, David 4 years after that. 3 children, a small apartment, pennies in the account, but we were happy, really. We always had dinner together regardless of fatigue. Read to the children before bed. Margaret would fall asleep in the middle of a fairy tale, I'd finish reading. 1992, finally opened my own business. HVAC systems, heating, air conditioning. The first years I was owner and worker and accountant. Margaret kept the books in the evening after school and children. We were building something of our own finally. The children grew. Michael smart, responsible, always helped. Lisa creative, dreamy, would draw for hours. David the youngest, cheerful, the life of the party. Margaret and I would look at them and think, we did this right. 2005 sold the business. 23 years of building. Good price, could finally rest. Children grown, their own families, their own lives. Michael a real estate agent, wife Corinne, 2 teenagers. Lisa divorced, works in a store, son 25 lives with her. David married, 3 small children, constantly some business ideas. Margaret and I finally had time for ourselves, traveled a little, gardened. Read, just were together after all those years when there was no time. She said one morning, "Tom, I feel like we're finally living." 2 years later, she was diagnosed with cancer. March 2022, routine checkup. The doctor asked us to come in for a talk. We sat in his office holding hands. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4. Margaret squeezed my hand harder. I couldn't breathe. How long? Her voice calm, but I heard it trembling. 6 months, maybe a year with treatment. We drove home in silence. I held her hand on the gear shift. At a traffic light, she cried. Just quietly, tears down her face. I didn't know what to say. At home, we sat in the kitchen at the same table where we'd sat for 30 years, where the children did homework, where we celebrated birthdays, where we planned life. Margaret said, "We need to tell the children." I called each one. Michael was at a house showing, asked me to call back in an hour. Lisa at work, picked up between clients. David didn't answer, wrote, "We'll call back tonight, kids are going crazy." When I finally told them all, they were in shock. Asked if the doctors were sure, if we'd checked again. What about treatment? Promised to come as soon as possible. The first week they came, all 3, sat with Margaret, cried, hugged. Michael said, "Mom, you're strong, you'll beat this." Lisa, "We're here always." David, "Anything you need, just say." I looked at them and felt grateful we had such a family. Margaret started chemotherapy. I don't know if you've seen what chemo does to a person. My wife had always been full of life, energy. Taught until she was 70, children adored her. After the first course, she couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. Nausea so bad even water wouldn't stay down. Hair started falling out in handfuls. She stood in front of the mirror, touched her head, cried quietly. I tried to help but didn't know how. 75 years old. Back hurts, knees too. I lift her from bed and barely stand myself. I cook but she can't eat. I sit beside her, hold her hand, watch her suffer and can't do anything. That's the worst. When the person you love most is dying before your eyes and you're absolutely helpless. I called Michael the second week. Said, "Mom's having a really hard time. Could you come help at least for the weekend?" He sighed. "Dad, you understand, I'm in the middle of sales season. 5 deals at once, Karen's working too, the kids need to be driven everywhere. But if it's really critical, of course." "No, not critical, just thought." "Okay, Dad, we'll definitely come soon." I texted Lisa. She replied, "Dad, I know how hard it is. Hang in there, my thoughts are with you every day. Just work is hell right now, plus my son's out of work again, sitting at home eating me alive. I'll come as soon as I get a little breathing room." David didn't respond to the message at all. 3 days later wrote, "Dad, sorry, lost my phone, just found it now. How's Mom? Kids are sick, all 3 in turns. Jessica's on the verge of a nervous breakdown. We'll come as soon as we recover." I understood. They had their own lives, their own problems. Michael really does work a lot. 2 teenagers are expensive. Lisa alone with a son who has no job. David 3 small children, that's incredibly hard, but Margaret was getting weaker every day. 4th week evening, someone knocked on the door. 9 o'clock, I opened it. A young woman, medical clothes, tired face. "Mr. Morrison, sorry to bother you so late. I'm Sarah Chen from House 42. We've never met. I work a lot, rarely home." "Yes," she hesitated. "I heard your wife is sick." "I'm a nurse. If you need help, please." I thought about scammers. About people who exploit others' troubles. "Thank you, but we're managing." She nodded, started to leave, stopped, turned around. "Mr. Morrison, my grandmother died 5 years ago, cancer. I was working in another city, couldn't be there often. When she was dying, I came for a day because I couldn't cancel shifts. Didn't make it to say goodbye. Arrived, she was already gone." She fell silent, looking somewhere past me. "Not a day goes by that I don't think if I'd been there more, if I hadn't put work first, if only." She looked at me. "If I can help your wife even a little, it's important to me too. Not just for you." Something in her eyes, pain I recognized because I felt it myself. "Come in." I led her to the bedroom. Margaret lay there pale, thin, heard footsteps, opened her eyes. "Margaret, this is Sarah, a neighbor, a nurse." Sarah approached quietly, sat on the edge of the bed. "Mrs. Morrison, let me check your condition, just a quick check." Her hands gentle, professional, confident. Checks pulse, pressure, temperature. Adjusts the pillow so Margaret's more comfortable. Speaks quietly about something unimportant, whether flowers in our garden. Margaret smiles. First time in a week she smiles. Half an hour later, Margaret fell asleep peacefully. We went to the kitchen. "Thank you, let me pay you." "No, Mr. Morrison, but you work hard." "I'm not doing this for that, I'm doing it because I need to, I need it to understand." I understood. "If you'll come regularly, at least symbolically. 200 a week if you insist, but really, Mr. Morrison, this isn't about money." She came 4 or 5 evenings a week, after a 12-hour hospital shift to us, sometimes so tired she could barely stand, but she came. Checked on Margaret, gave medicine on time I sometimes forgot, did exercises that eased pain. Brought soup, said she cooked too much, but I saw the thermos still warm, just made. Sat with Margaret for hours. They talked about what I don't know. I heard laughter sometimes from the bedroom. Margaret laughed. Michael came on the 5th week. Saturday afternoon, sat with Margaret half an hour, kept looking at his phone, apologized, but a client's texting, important. "How are you, Mom?" "Managing." "You look good." Margaret didn't look good, lost 20 kilograms, eyes sunken. But Michael didn't notice, or didn't want to notice. He called an hour later. "Dad, sorry, gotta go, house showing, forgot it was today. I'll come next weekend." Margaret nodded. Of course, go, work is important. After he left, she lay looking at the ceiling, didn't cry, just lay there. In the evening, Sarah came, saw Margaret. "Hard day. My son visited." Sarah nodded, said nothing. Sat beside, took Margaret's hand. They sat in silence. Sometimes silence is more than words. Lisa came 2 weeks later, brought flowers, beautiful, expensive. Sat with Margaret, talked about her work, how much she works, how tired she is. About her son who can't find himself for 5 years already. About her ex-husband who doesn't pay alimony. Margaret listened, nodded, tiredly, but listened. "Mom, sorry I'm complaining. I know it's harder for you, but sometimes you just need to vent, you know." "I understand, sweetheart." Lisa left after 2 hours. Has a shift, needs to get up early tomorrow, the road is long. Margaret fell asleep after she left. Woke up late in the evening. I sat beside her reading. Tom, the flowers Lisa brought, put them in water. I looked. The flowers were lying on the table in the living room. Lisa forgot to put them away. David came with his family the third month. Sunday, brought 3 children, 6-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old. Energy like an explosion. The children ran, screamed, played. Jessica tried to calm them down, but they wouldn't listen. David on the phone discussing something loudly, a business plan with a partner. Margaret lay in the bedroom, heard the noise, smiled, but I saw pain in her eyes from the noise. An hour later, Jessica said, "David, the kids are getting wild, maybe we should go." "Yeah, Mom, sorry, they're just kids, you know." "I understand." He hugged Margaret quickly. "Next time we'll come without the kids." After they left, Margaret cried, quietly so I wouldn't hear. But I heard. Sarah came in the evening, saw traces of tears. Grandchildren visited. Margaret nodded. Sarah said nothing. Just sat beside, started singing quietly. Old songs, lullabies. Margaret fell asleep to these songs. Months passed. Margaret weaker. Chemotherapy wasn't working. Doctors said switch to palliative care, just reduce pain. The children called. "Michael once a week. How's Mom, Dad?" Lisa texted, "Thinking of you." David kept promising to come. Something always got in the way. Sarah was there every evening, tired after work, but was there. 7th month, Margaret wasn't getting up anymore. Moved the bed downstairs, easier to care for her. Morphine for pain. Oxygen because breathing was hard. I called the children. "Mom's doing badly, come." They came. Saturday afternoon, stood by the bed uncomfortably. Margaret was aware sometimes, not others. "Mom, we're here." She opened her eyes, tried to smile. Michael held her hand, looked at his watch. Karen beside him on the phone checking something. Lisa cried quietly, but talked about herself, how hard it is for her to see Mom like this, how scary it is. David's children made noise in the living room. Jessica tried to calm them, shushed them. The door opened. Sarah saw the family, hesitated. "Sorry, I didn't know you were here, I'll come later." Margaret's weak voice. "Sarah, stay." Sarah approached. Took Margaret's hand, the other one, the one I wasn't holding. "I'm here." Margaret smiled. The children looked at Sarah, at Margaret, at the smile. Half an hour later, Michael, "Mom, we'll step out for a bit, get a bite, we'll be back." Margaret nodded. They left, didn't come back that day. Called in the evening, "Dad, the kids are tired, we went home, but call if anything." Sarah stayed. "Mr. Morrison let me stay tonight." "Sarah, you worked. I want to be here." She sat in the chair by the bed, held Margaret's hand, saying quietly, 3 nights Sarah didn't go home. Slept in the chair an hour too, when a work came back. 4th night, 23rd of March, 3 in the morning. Margaret's breathing changed. I woke up. Sarah wasn't sleeping anymore, sitting leaned forward. "Mr. Morrison." I came over. We were on both sides, held her hands. Margaret opened her eyes, looked at me, smiled weakly. Whispered barely audibly, "Tom, love you." Looked at Sarah. "Thank you, my sunshine." Sarah cried, "I love you." Margaret closed her eyes, breathed in, breathed out, again. Then silence. I sat holding her hand, already cold, and couldn't believe 50 years had ended. Just like that, one breath and gone. Sarah cried like she'd lost the dearest person. We sat like that for a long time, don't know how long. One was breaking when Sarah quietly stood up. "Let me help." She helped wash Margaret, dress her in the nice nightgown Margaret loved, braid the hair that remained, position her on the bed with dignity, called the funeral home, spoke quietly, gently, organized everything, only then left. "Call if you need anything at all." I called the children in the morning. They came in a few hours. They cried, real grief in their eyes. They loved their mother, I knew that, just life got in the way of being there. Funeral, many people. Margaret's former students came from far away. Colleagues, neighbors. Sarah sat in back quietly, cried. After the ceremony, awake at our house. People ate, drank, remembered Margaret. I'm in the kitchen. I hear a conversation. Michael and David in the hallway. The house is definitely worth more than $800,000, plus savings. Dad sold the business for good money. We'll need to talk about all this, tactfully, of course. I felt nauseous. Went to the bathroom, stood looking at myself in the mirror. An old, tired man just buried his wife, sons discussing money. I pushed the thought away. Grief makes people strange. They didn't mean it like that, but it continued. A week after the funeral, Michael called. "Dad, how are you?" "Hard. I understand. Listen, I don't want to push, but I was thinking the house is big now, maybe hard to maintain alone. We can help find something smaller, more convenient. Haven't thought about it." "No, of course, no rush, just when you're ready." Second week, Lisa. "Dad, I hate to ask now, but the car broke down. $3,000 for repair, I just don't have it right now." I transferred the money. Third week, David. "Dad, opportunity to invest in a business, need $15,000 quickly." I transferred it. I started counting, kept transferring. Different amounts, different reasons. In 6 months, $80,000. And Sarah came every day, checked if I ate, brought dinner, sometimes sat and kept me company, never asked for anything. I started noticing. The children called when they needed something. Sarah called to ask how I was. The children promised to come, canceled. Sarah came even when tired. The children talked about the house, money, the future. Sarah talked about Margaret, memories, love. One evening I was sitting at Margaret's table. Her things everywhere, still couldn't sort through them. Saw a notebook. A diary, didn't know she kept one. I shouldn't read it, I knew. But my hands opened it on their own. First pages about us. About love, about how happy she was. Then the entries from the last months began. Tom called Michael to ask him to come. Michael said he's busy. I understand he has a life, but I'm afraid that when I really go, he won't be there. Lisa came today, complained the whole hour. I listened even though the pain is terrible. She's my daughter, I want to support her, but when I need support. David promised to come with the grandchildren, didn't come. Third time canceling. The grandchildren don't see me, won't remember. Sarah came again. So tired she can barely stand, but came. Why does a stranger give more than my own children? I read on, tears dripped on the pages. Michael asked Tom about the will. I heard the conversation. He didn't know I could hear. My heart hurts not from cancer, from understanding. Tom doesn't see, defends them, says they're busy. Yes, busy, too busy for a dying mother. Sarah said today that I remind her of her grandmother. She cried, I cried too. I wish she were my daughter. I wish my children were like her. Last entry. Day before death. The children came, stood like at a funeral, uncomfortable. Wanted to leave quickly. Left. Sarah came, sat down. Took my hand, sang. I fell asleep peacefully. Tom, if you ever read this, remember, family is not who was born with you. Family is who stays when it's hard, who appears when it's scary, who holds your hand when others let go. I love our children, will always love them, but Sarah showed what family really means. Don't be angry at them. Maybe you and I missed something during their upbringing. They're just lost somewhere. Life swallowed them. Thank you for 50 years. Sorry I'm leaving. Love you. I closed the notebook, sat in the dark, cried. Margaret knew, saw I didn't want to see. Next morning I called a lawyer. I want to create a foundation, pancreatic cancer research. How much? $2 million. That's most of your assets, Mr. Morrison. I know. Who will manage it? Sarah Chen. Salary $60,000 plus benefits. Pause. She's not a family member. Exactly. Documents were prepared. Foundation created, official. I called Sarah, told her. She cried. Mr. Morrison, I can't accept this. It's too much. Sarah, Mrs. Morrison wrote in her last entry that you showed what family means. Please, do this for her. She agreed. Now I had to tell the children. I called them for Sunday, said it's important. They all came quickly. Thought they knew what about. After lunch in the living room, everyone sat waiting. I stood up. I want to tell you what I did. Created a foundation in Mom's memory. Cancer research, $2 million. Michael smiled tensely. That's wonderful, Dad. Sarah Chen will manage it. Paid position. Silence. Sarah, the neighbor. Lisa's voice thin. Yes. David stood up. Dad, can we talk privately? No, everyone will hear. Sarah earned it. She was with Mom when you weren't. Dad, this isn't fair. We had lives, work, children. Yes, lives. Sarah has one too, 12-hour shifts. But found time. I took out bank statements. In 6 months, I gave you $80,000. Sarah never asked once. I showed Margaret's diary. Want to know what Mom thought the last months? Read. I read some entries aloud. Their faces, shame, pain, realization. Mom loved you, I love you, but she was right. Sarah showed what family means. Michael red-faced. This is manipulation. We'll take it to court. Go ahead. They left, angry, offended. They went to court, claimed incompetence. I took tests, all of them passed perfectly. Court. Their lawyer tried. Mine showed everything. Sarah's schedules, bank statements, Margaret's diary. Judge, Mr. Morrison has the right. Case closed. A year passed. Foundation works. Sarah manages brilliantly. 3 research projects, real progress. The children tried to restore connection, apologized, said they understood. I see them sometimes, the grandchildren, but not like before. Sarah is like family now, calls every day. We have dinner every week, got married last year. I walked her down the aisle. She asked me to give a toast. I said, Margaret would have loved you. You were what she wanted to see in all of us. Thank you for showing what family means. I have peace. It hurts. Will always hurt, but I have peace. Because I understood what Margaret wanted me to understand. Family is not who has your blood. Family is who stays when everyone leaves, who appears when it's scary, who holds your hand when it's hard. Love your children, but don't close your eyes, raise them. See who's really there, who really gives, who really stays. Because one day it will be too late to understand. She understood, left me a guide. Now I know too, and you know.